Today, you're going to see things in this video that nobody would believe if it weren't caught on camera. This is truly the stuff of nightmares. Number 5. Our world is a busy place to live. So many tasks to accomplish, so many responsibilities to tend to that at times it seems that we are just floating, bobbing up and down, head just above the water, able to sacrifice only seconds of our attention to keep ourselves from drowning. It makes me wonder if it's so easy to misplace one's attention, forgetting the last thing you ate, commuting to work and having no recollection of anything between when you started your car and when you parked it, then what else could be going unnoticed in our lives? In this first clip, the gentleman seems to have experienced something of this nature. As he mindlessly paces back and forth beside his car, apparently taking a small break from driving to stretch his legs, his attention is elsewhere for a few moments, but it's long enough to miss what's going on around him. As the traffic whizzes by on this small, disorganized roadway, you notice a dark figure slowly manifest out of thin air and approach the gentleman. And what happens next is astonishing. This shadow figure, freestanding and free-moving, approaches the man casually. As you watch the footage, you expect the man to notice something peculiar out of the corner of his eye and turn his attention to the large black mass approaching him. But then, the disembodied shadow seems to fuse itself to this man by means of some otherworldly method that no amount of science can explain. The origin of this clip is unknown, but what is for certain, what we have just witnessed on this CCTV footage is truly mysterious and downright disturbing. Number 4. The story behind this next clip and the origins of the location in general are of a very dark nature. This historic prison at Bodmin in Cornwall, on the southern tip of England, has seen its fair share of death and violence in its long-standing history. Torture and mutilation of prisoners was common practice in the early years the jail was established, and it is the setting for the final chapter of a story about a beautiful woman slain by her jealous former lover. This prison was reopened for private tours after a small restorative project had been completed to preserve the building where some of England's most notorious criminals had been tortured and executed. Placards and stanchions were placed outside of some of these chambers. They verbally illustrate some of the horrors former inmates had endured as punishments for their past transgressions, some ranging from disturbing to absolutely appalling. On this day, Tony and Bev Ferguson of Southampton brought their equipment in hopes of capturing something interesting. While the couple made sure they were the only visitors in this haunted prison, they captured many incidents of supernatural activity, faint voices, EVPs, shadows, and this video footage. This apparition is believed to be the spirit of William Hampton, the last man to be executed in this county. He was sent to the gallows after strangling his former girlfriend, Emily Tredia, to death when she informed him that they could no longer be together. On July 20th, 1909, William was the last person put to death at Cornwall, and quite possibly, its last remaining resident. Number 3. A boy and his pup. Can you think of any bond stronger between two species that have limited methods of communication with each other? A wagging tail, waiting anxiously for you to come through the door, listening in anticipation as you walk up the steps. Nothing matches the joy of a young child coming home and seeing that their father caved in and finally allowed them to get a puppy. Some would say their relationships with their pets are more profound than any other that they've ever experienced in their life. Such intense, unconditional love is balanced equally by the deep despair of someday losing them. The footage from this next clip was captured using a home security camera. The owner of the home had previously noticed some unusual things happening in the area near the stairs. When he reviewed the footage, he was shocked by what he was seeing. The faint apparition of a young boy and a dog playing on the stairs in the adjacent living room. Upon further investigation, he was able to find out a bit more about these apparitions. In the late 60s, a family of 4 had lived in this home. A couple, 2 young children, boy and girl, and a dog. One day, the children arrived home from school. The dog, waiting eagerly by the tree in the yard, began to bark with excitement and ran towards the children. The youngest, a little boy, giggled with excitement and ran across the street to greet him. As they came together, a tragic accident took place and they were both struck by an oncoming vehicle. Neither survived. Could this be evidence of their lasting presence within the home? Or possibly just a small metaphysical remnant of a happy time shared between man and his best friend? Number 2. All over the world, millions of people are exploring different areas of the wilderness in an attempt to find a bit of respite from the pressures of their lives. The wanderlust seems to draw people into remote areas of these sprawling utopias of life, away from the smog-covered concrete wastelands and social confines of an urban environment. Many unexplained occurrences happen in these places where so many people come to reflect and isolate themselves from their own frantic inner chatter. Sometimes we're lucky enough that a few of these moments are caught on camera. A freelance content creator, Rob Wakefield, captured a shadowy figure haunting a pathway in Stansted, Mount Fittich. In the footage, Rob manages to capture a misty figure on the pathway close to the river. The ghostly legend has its origins in the story of a mysterious fatal train crash. According to the legend, the ghost is assumed to be the spirit of someone who was hit by a train on the nearby railway. Rob decided to continue down the path and visit the location next to the river, but didn't notice anything until he watched the footage. Number 1. This video comes to us by way of another YouTuber, Exploring with Danny. Danny and friends record themselves as they explore a haunted abandoned mine shaft. This mine and many others are said to be inhabited by folkloric creatures known as Tommyknockers, a small, grotesque, troll-like creature. that were said to be a myth until technology provided us a means to photograph and video these strange beings. While exploring, some strange things began to happen.
About cave spirits, but I've also seen spirits, guys, in this mine. It's not a mine I like coming into. It's not a mine I like coming into. Bro, I just heard a whistle, bro.
Yeah, I've had that happen once before.
Did you hear a whistle, Olivia?
Hello?
After hearing an ominous whistle coming from deep within the mine, they briefly pause and then continue further into the darkness, where they find a mysterious black ink oozing out of a crack in the wall of the mine.
Did he run at me before messing about, but he says it wasn't him.
As they continue into the mine, what happens next is truly startling.
Hello? Be very careful with places like this. Don't know what lies beneath. Huh? What the hell is that? Hello, get the hell out of here now!
As Danny rounds the corner with the camera, a small black figure with glowing green eyes on all fours begins to approach him in a way that seems to be a warning not to venture any further. These kind of clips are the most terrifying to me. Could this occurrence be a bridge between what we believe to be a myth and reality as we are faced with the physical presence of something unknown?
Hello, get the hell out of here now!
What's up, y'all? I hope you're all enjoying all the new content. I just want to remind everybody that we're this close to announcing a winner for who gets to come with us on an investigation at the beginning of Season 4. If you haven't joined our Patreon and you're interested in doing that, now would be a good time to do so. Thanks so much for watching.